Today, we're going to talk about some laws behind growing a big business in real estate. These are really laws that you can apply to any business, but specifically to the real estate business. Before we dive into it, we have to understand that everything has an equation. Everything has a law. If I want to achieve X, I have to do Y. And there might be different variations to the letter Y, right? You could take different paths. So this isn't going to be so much about paths to take, but rather laws that we always need to follow, regardless of which route we're taking. It doesn't matter if you're big in just marketing or just database or you do it all. These are laws that we can implement into all aspects of our business and the different activities that we do and the way we look at things to continue to expand and grow our business. So hopefully this helps. If you have any questions on any of it, go ahead and throw it in the comments and I'll do my best to get to them while we're live. All right, so the first thing I wrote down is the law of expansion. The law of expansion. What this means is what activities could you expand on? What activities are working today that you can expand the business with today? So, one of the things is you have to find what's working. And when you find something that's working for yourself, you have to pour the gasoline on that fire, right? We always have to expand on the things that are working, focus on becoming even more effective at those things. So if you're someone that's doing really well with your database, how can you expand that? How can you focus on one, making the database bigger? How can you focus on getting more from the database, doing more for them, communicating them with them more, maybe creating different experiences? If you're doing really well with expireds, how can you expand on that? Can you add some more calls? Can you maybe do, in addition to your calls, can you add 5 stop bys on your way in or on your way home every day? So always be thinking about how you can expand the things that are already working. And then the next thing is expanding your skill around the communication and the objections that you get. Will always may be a state of expansion, right? So the law says if I can expand my skills, if I can expand the things that I'm already doing that work, those two things combined are going to give me a lot of leverage where I know I'm doing well at this. If I can expand that effort and at the same time expand my skill set around said effort, then I'm going to have propelled growth. So all of us should be expanding our skills around handling objections, expanding our skills around what to say in every scenario, handling our skill of our dialogues and our script. So making sure that you learn the objections and expand your skill around that. Last point I wrote down in the law of expansion is it doesn't have to be a major change or a major expansion. It just has to be continuous. So it's not like we're going to get off this class today and we're going to go make major changes and expand in major ways. But the goal is to have progressive, continuous expansion in the parts of your business that matter, around your skill, around the activities that are working, and just being real with the fact that this is something that never stops, right? As long as you want to be in the business and continue to grow the business, we have to remind ourselves that we're in a continuous state of expansion. It doesn't have to be big, but it does have to be continuous and constant. Hopefully that helps. Number 2 is the law of challenge. You're always going to be challenged in this business. You're going to be challenged in any business. Anytime you're trying to go to the next level, you're going to experience challenges. You're going to experience rejection and pushback. So the question becomes, how do you respond to challenges, right? Since we know the challenges are never going to go away, we need to check our emotions and how we react to them, and be real with the fact that it's either fight or flight, right? So the better we are at embracing the challenges and being real with the fact that it's part of the business, not beating ourselves up over it or thinking, why is this happening to me, or whatever it may be. Instead, be real with the fact that you're getting challenged because that means you're growing. Challenge is, is a natural step that you're going to go through time and time again in the process of growing your business. So the better the skills are in your business, the easier it is to move forward through the challenges. If I'm having challenges on prospecting, the better my skills are, the better I'm going to get through them. The better my skills are on all the different aspects of my business, the easier it becomes for me to go through the challenges. So just remind yourself when you're going through challenges that you're not alone, that it just means that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And it's a natural step in growing a bigger business, a more profitable business, and one that, you know, helps you reach your goals. So number 2 is the law of challenge and being comfortable with it. Number 3, similar to number 2, is the law of frustration. Frustration will always exist. You just need to learn how to respond to it properly. I wrote down underneath that you can't crash if you're going up, right? So understand that it's always, you know, it's always going to exist. You're always going to be frustrated. It might be frustrated because of an escrow. It might be frustrated because of a client. You might be frustrated because of anything in between. You might just have a really bad day on the phone. You might have marketing campaigns that haven't worked for a week or 2 or a month. So you're always going to feel the frustration, and that's normal. But your ability to pay attention to it, look into it, understand why it's happening, and then remind yourself that when it comes to growing your business, you're always going to be frustrated, right? The frustration can't be absent when growth is present. And frustration is, you know, is the idea that it's always going to be a little bit harder and always going to take a little bit longer, sometimes a lot harder and a lot longer than you think it will. So if you have the right perspective and the right expectations when you're going into this, into the next chapter, into the next step, into just the daily grind, and understand that it's going to be tough and probably tougher than you wish, and it's going to take long and probably longer than you wish, and being okay with and embracing the frustration that's going to come along with that, a vital part of, you know, the laws behind growing a big business. This isn't rocket science. It's just reality. And a lot of us haven't yet accepted law number 2 and law number 3, which is challenges and frustrations, right? You're gonna face challenges, you're gonna face frustration. It's just gonna happen. So we have to learn to be ready for it, embrace it, expect it, and continue to push forward through it so we can grow our businesses. So number 4 is the law of reality. I wrote down under that law, learn to see things as they are, not as how you would like them to be. For example, I would like it that every time I got on the phone, thanks, David. I would like it that every time I got on the phone with an expired that I would get an appointment. The reality is I won't. I would like it that every time I called an expired, they would pick up the phone. The reality is they won't. I would like it that, you know, things were just simpler and easier. But having the understanding of looking through the perspective of reality is the key factor of getting real with the law of frustration and the law of challenge. Thanks, Tom. The law of reality is just the right expectation and not thinking that it's going to be different for you. I wrote down underneath that under the law of reality, that I'm going to get the responses I deserve. That's a tough one to digest. I'm going to get the responses I deserve. What that means is when you're prospecting, if you're not getting the responses that you want, it's probably, now don't get mad, it's probably tied to your level of presentation, to the way you handled objections, to the way you ask questions. So in other words, it's what your presentation deserved. If you're not going where you want to go, it's probably because you don't deserve it. And that's just, when we talk about reality, that's the tough part is, you know, we want things to be different or easier or, you know, just not as complicated as they seem to be at times. But when you look at the law of reality, it just is what it is. And the sooner you can get comfortable with it is what it is and continue to move forward, as soon as you set the proper expectations, I'm not saying reduce your goals, have big goals, but go towards your goals with the right expectation of the challenges, the rejection, the embarrassment, the frustration, the time spent. You have to be real with the reality. And you also have to be real with the fact that reality says if you're not good at your dialogue, if you're not good at your scripts, if you're not good at handling objections and these different things, the reality is that you're going to have a harder time getting more business than someone that has spent and invested time learning how to become a better presenter, learning their scripts, internalizing their objection handlers. This is just the reality. This is it is what it is of the business. People that do a lot of business understand these laws and they know how to look through them properly. They know how to focus on them, expand on them. So number 4 is the law of reality. Make sure we're being real with ourselves. Good morning, Michelle. All right, number 5, the law of opposition. Pretty much, you have to learn to love the conflict, right? You're gonna have opposition. You're gonna have people on the other side that are trying to take your business. You're gonna have opposition with your clients. You're going to have opposition or conflict, and we need to learn to love it. And the goal is to eliminate the opposition by becoming better than what the opposition can give you. Get better than the objections you're receiving. Get better than the other agents you're going up against. Get better than the other agents that are calling the same leads as you. You have to eliminate the opposition by focusing on improving your skill, your mindset, all these different things that we've talked about. And you have to ask yourself, how do you respond to the opposition? You know, when you know that you're going up against another agent that might be stronger than you, how do you respond to that? Do you give up? Do you instead put your head down and practice your dialogue, your presentation, your skills? How do you respond to the opposition? Because that's a key factor of the law, which is understanding that it's there, but also not letting it stop you, right? Not just loving it, but loving it, embracing it, and moving forward when opposition is present. And then learning how to eliminate the opposition. You're never going to eliminate all of it, but with the right skill set, the right mindset, you can start to eliminate the opposition a lot more than you were before. And the reality is, if you look at who's pushing you back, it's you. It's not the opposition. The opposition's doing their job and they might be doing it stronger than you, but they're not pushing you back. It's us that are oftentimes pushing ourselves back. We need to learn to get out of our own way by focusing on these different laws, focusing on our skills, and doing whatever it takes to become better every single day, just become a little bit better day by day, week by week, month by month. And you know, what happens over the course of time is these laws and these skills and these different things become a part of you. And it becomes easier for you to continue towards the path that you want of growing your business. All right. Number 6, the law of embarrassment. It has to happen. You're going to get embarrassed. You're going to get rejected. It's impossible to have a big business. I think I've talked about this the last 3 weeks in a row. Embarrassment's real. And the law of embarrassment is that you're going to get embarrassed. You can't avoid it. It's normal, so you need to get comfortable with it, right? If someone is going to offend you or embarrass you or reject you or whatever it may be, and you allow that to stop you, then effectively what you're doing is you're allowing someone else's response to what you're doing to grow your business to determine if you grow your business or not. So when we go back to the law of reality is that that's there. You can't allow someone's reaction to what you're doing to stop you. It's ridiculous. So what we have to do is we have to embrace the repetitious embarrassment. We have to embrace the repetitious rejection. Embarrassment, rejection, these things are normal. And the moment you allow yourself to think that this is just happening to you is a moment that you are fighting the law of reality, right? The reality law says that you're going to get embarrassed, rejected, all these challenges, frustration, etc. So one of the laws then must be the law of embarrassment. You can't get rid of it. You can get better at eliminating it through better skill set, dialogue, etc. But you're going to get embarrassed. And, two thoughts I have written down here for you is number one is you can't get out of your box without embarrassing yourself. Think about that. You can't get out of your box without embarrassing yourself. So if you're trying to break the box and live in a bigger box, change your environment, you can't do that without embarrassment. Second thing I wrote down, which is one of my favorite quotes or lines or whatever, is failure is success in progress. Failure is success in progress. Think about that. When you're feeling like you're losing, remind yourself that that means this is success in progress. You know, we talked about this for the past few weeks. I talked about it on the call with Mike earlier this week. Failure is a success in progress. What I mean by that is every time you get rejected when you're making your calls, every time a lead tells you to screw off, every time a deal falls apart, a client goes somewhere else, something happens, every time you're doing something that's painful, that's where the money is earned, not in the closing of the deal, right? So understand and remind yourself that the success is the motion through the failure. Failure is success in progress. You have to fail in order to succeed. And every time you feel like you're failing, as long as you continue moving, you can say to yourself, damn it, Sam, yes, that wasn't fun. I lost, I failed. That call was tough. I got embarrassed, but I know that I made some money. It just hasn't materialized yet, right? When you get that $10,000 closing check, when a deal closes, that is a materialization of all the rejection, embarrassment, failure that you went through. That's where the money was made. The closing of the deal was just how it materialized into cash. Last couple points. Thanks, Michelle. Hope you're feeling better. The law of what's fair and what's not. I wrote down, life and business is not fair, plain and simple. So if we understand that it's not fair, that means that the reality is we're going to experience things, what's the right word for not fair? It's just, I know there's a better word for it and it's slipping my mind right now. But it's a reality and we have to expect it, embrace it, and move forward through it quicker. It's just not going to be fair. Life is not fair. Business is not fair. What's happening right now with, this pandemic, not fair. It's here. And you guys have proven to be able to act through the unfair challenges like we have right now. I mean, it's amazing how hot the market is and how great you guys are all doing. So to a degree, we already know that life isn't fair, but we can't allow unfair things in the business. Thanks, Jay. I don't know if that's the word I was looking for, but maybe it is. Life's not fair. Business isn't fair. And if you're going to allow the unfair things that come up to stop you, you've shot yourself, in the foot before you've even started. So stop looking for what's fair and instead look at the reality that you need to accept it and you need to move forward from it quickly. Fair is what is fair, except for not fair, right? I don't know if that made any sense, but you guys get my point. It's just oftentimes you're going to feel like it's not fair. You're going to feel like it should be a different way. And the people that power through the unfair moments are the ones that win the game. So hopefully some of us pick that up and can go through some more unfair stuff. Number 8 is the law of responsibility. Law of responsibility. I wrote down very simply, you have to accept responsibility. If you're blaming something or someone else for your lack of whatever you're trying to achieve, you can't think big. You can't win. When you blame someone else, that means you're taking blame away from yourself. You're taking away responsibility from yourself. You're taking away ownership in the fact that you're guiding the ship, you're steering the wheel. You are the one that's in complete control of your life. It's the law of responsibility. And if you don't get real with the responsibilities and how you handle them, then you're always going to be missing some boat, some opportunity, some income. Taking complete responsibility gives you complete control and freedom that comes from it. Taking complete responsibility gives you complete control, and it gives you complete freedom. And that's what comes from being real with the law of responsibility, right? We have responsibilities in our business. We have to make our calls daily. We need to do our lead follow-up. We have to have uncomfortable conversations. We're gonna have to get embarrassed and rejected. We're gonna have to do a lot of things that we might not consider fun or ideal or fair or whatever whatever word you use, but it's just the reality, and we have to take responsibility. I'm going to say that last line again because I think it says it all. Taking complete responsibility, you get full control, freedom that comes from it. So hopefully that resonates. Last law that I have for you today, and then if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them, is the law of acceptance. You can accept. You have to learn to accept without hangups, right? You have to learn to accept that things are going to go your way and some things aren't going to go your way. So the law of acceptance. I think that a lot of us have a hard time accepting unfair things, but I also think a lot of us have the hard time of accepting the fact that you can win big. Look, if a guy like me that could barely get through grade school, was in college for minutes, spent the first, pretty much my entire 20s just messing around and not taking any responsibility, not taking any acceptance, just thinking life was unfair. If I can, with all of that, still have some success, all of us can. You have to accept that you can win as long as you accept, and you can win to the level that you want. You can win really damn big as long as you accept all of the other laws that we talked about, the law of responsibility, the law of embarrassment, the law of skills, the law of all these things that we talked about. It's the backbone of winning this game. So we all need to learn to accept the fact that we're going to win big. We can win big, and at times we're going to lose and it's going to hurt, right? It's the law of acceptance. It's your ability to accept what's happening without the hangups, right? Don't get hung up on, oh, that can't happen for me, or why did this happen to me? We have to learn to accept things as they are. And if there are bad things that happen, it's okay to feel bad about it, but accept it and do your best to move on as fast as possible. And then be real with the fact that big and good and exciting things can happen for you. It can happen for everybody, but you got to follow the other laws. You have to put in the time. You have to get the embarrassment, the rejection, the unfairness, all that stuff. All these laws are real, and they don't play favorites. They are equal for everybody. Doesn't matter how tall you are, how short you are. Doesn't matter, if you have an accent, it don't have an accent. If you're new, if you're old in the business, none of that matters. These laws don't discriminate. They're there for everybody, including yourself and myself. So let's pay attention to these laws. Let's embrace these laws. And if there's anything I can do to help you with these laws, just let me know. Shoot me a message, shoot me a text, an email, or whatever it may be. I really appreciate you guys. Again, I can't say enough about how great the company is doing and how strong you guys are being out there. It's truly amazing. We're hitting our goals, even exceeding goals. And it's really exciting to see. And it's all because of you guys following these laws and working hard. So we love you. We appreciate you and damn proud of you. Keep up the good work. If there's anything that any of us can do to help, please let us know. And I will talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.